Characters just like to materialize during cutscenes. Cartoon sound effects make everything better.
Yes, it's me again.
No idea who this character is.
Time to wander around aimlessly.
But he doesn't seem to be harming anyone. Kind of like most villains in games, who just kind of sit on a throne and do nothing else.
Hey, buddy. Just spare me a dime. Hey, buddy. Don't ignore me. Oh, they always ignore me. Hey!
They always ignore you? You've been out here for like 3 seconds.
You know, in my own country, I'm a king.
He says his own country like it's somewhere off in a different island or different world or something, but
apparently the hive keeps
it is like probably 100 feet away.
Anyway, you see how fat she is? Bitch. Now I'm reduced to the states of a...
We just passed by your country earlier.
Anyway, yeah, I gotta go now.
You're like the rest of them. I ain't gonna tell you about the big-breasted babe then.
The big what?
Reminder, this is a Nintendo 64 game that exists.
That's why the wife kicked me out.
Like, it's not as surprising that this kind of game exists now, but considering that this was made for the Nintendo 64,
what do you mean?
along with the likes of Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like, Majora's Mask is dark,
Hang on a second.
but this is just, like, ridiculous.
She's a sunflower.
Yeah, what did you expect it to be? She's a sunflower.
There's no other game like this.
I'm a bee. Stupid bastard.
Well, maybe,
Okay,
like,
I'd like to get
South
back
Park and the Stick of Truth,
Help me out,
or
buddy.
whatever,
I don't know
might
what
be
I'm gonna
a
do.
contender for a somewhat similar game, but this, I still feel like there are a lot of things that this game does that nothing else really does.
That'll do. But I thought you were begging.
Yeah.
I don't get this here. He says he sussed me. What does sussed mean? Is that like shushed? Spelled differently? I don't really know. And he also says that because, like, the bee will give him cash for his efforts, for Conker's efforts, but he doesn't actually have any cash, and that's what Conker points out. But the thing is, whenever you get the money, it's not even from him, it's from
There's a guy over there.
a ledge above the sunflower, so he's not actually lying.
Pollinate you? Sounds a bit strange, but
Go away. Ooh, that big tail of yours is far too tickly.
no,
I
you
do
don't
believe that this,
Get that
yeah,
big
same voice
long
actress
head.
as the
Go
bee
away
from earlier, the queen bee.
Oh, suit yourself.
Be like that.
You be like that. Is her emphasizing the word be supposed to be a hint? Not that this is very difficult, you just walk over here and the game tells you everything for you.
Oh, no,
This is the scene where Conker gets tickled by not being touched by bees.
what are you doing? I'm tickled.
They just kind of hover above him.
Tickly bee. You're pacifist.
I love
You
that.
only like to tickle people.
Pacifist tickling bees.
Like
Just,
sunflowers, maybe?
it's just the best. Pacifist bees.
I think I got a plan.
There's so many bees in this game. Maybe this playthrough should just be, like, just bee. Every time that we see a bee in this game, speed up the video. You know, just like every bee movie video on YouTube.
Yeah, that seemed to work.
Every time we see a bee, replace the next 10 seconds of footage with the bee movie. Just the entire film. Why not? So we have a lot of bees to find, a lot of little groups of bees. This is the hardest one to find, because there's not really any indication that you're supposed to go over here, and that's why it took me a while to find them. And also, you want to make sure that you don't leave the area, or fall into any water, or touch any water. And you want to make sure that you don't die by falling a long distance or a relatively short distance, because this game's fall damage is like pipsqueak. Because all of those things will reset your progress. I mean, if you take the bees over to the sunflower and then touch water, then they stay there, but otherwise, progress is reset, because the bees fly back to where they are.
Come on, wait.
Guess I'll show this now. Or not. Hold on. Just because. Yeah, there's a hidden thing here. If you had died up to this point, then there would be something here that gives you 10 lives. Worth showing in case you don't know about it. Although if you're watching this and you've seen this game before, then you probably know about it. But maybe not. I mean, it is kind of obscure if you haven't looked on the internet about, for anything about this game. Here are these drain pipes again, which I always call, like, the 2D platforming section of the game, even though it's not really a section, it's just a couple of platforms. Here's where your bee travels can end, because there's water in this gigantic bucket. This paint pot! So don't touch that water, or all the bees will fly back to where they were. And that is just a big time waster. Also, don't fall from this distance, because you will definitely die. Well, maybe not that distance, but that was acceptable. Yeah, the fall distance, the fall damage that you take in this game, it's a little bit like, I don't know, Prince of Persia and the Sands of Time. Because in that game, if you fall just like 3/4 of a story, then the character becomes unconscious and the story has to be retold of his journey. And it's a little bit stupid. Whereas anyone else would be okay. Unless you had, like, really, really weak bones. Like toothpicks for bones. Yeah, so she reveals her breasts. Good job.
There you go. She's all yours.
Oh, thanks very much. I'm going in. Wish me luck, fella.
She's right there. You don't have to talk about her like that. Another reminder, this is really happening. I should clearly extend this scene to be like 4 hours long, except I won't. And Conker just has this intrigued face by the end of it.
I feel like a new man.
So do I.
Gosh, that
Mother,
line.
honey,
It's
time
like
to go
the
for a
worst
bite?
line in the game.
About. Okay.
But also a great line
Now
at the
this is
same
what I
time.
call a platform game.
Platform game. Yep, we get to bounce on the boobs. Which is awkward control-wise. I mean, it shouldn't be, but I've had a lot of trouble with that before. Just getting that to work.
Hey, I'm here.
What I did just then was I pressed A and held it every time I landed back on the breasts, and it seemed to work after 3 bounces. Like I was high enough, I got the height. Getting the height was always the problem for me before. So, now that that's done, now that we are saying don't worry, be happy, and all the bees show up in that one episode of Futurama when everyone turns into bees, and it's like Inception before Inception. Because that was a weird episode. I don't know what it was called. But it was the one where, like, Leela or Fry or someone got stung by a big bee, and it looked like they died, and then they had dreams, and the whole episode is the dreams, trying to get out of the reality and into reality, and I don't know how to explain it. It was a confusing episode, but that's also what made it great. I could be walking along these, these thin ledges here, because then I get to press B and pull out a flamethrower, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use these knives. Because I'm a knife kind of guy. I'm a really knife guy. And, wow, I'm surprised that this is not hitting correctly. How about now? That one totally missed, but okay. We'll go with that.
This is gonna hurt.
Why do you care if it'll hurt? You're an inanimate object. Then again, you're an animated inanimate object, so that they're not technically an inanimate... Shut up. Just try not to take any lousy fall damage from 2 inches into the air.
What'd you do that for? Dumb
Yeah, dumb shit. Yeah.
Why is it you have to repeat everything I say?
I don't repeat everything. Do I?
Oh yeah, you know, I forgot to talk about the word esophagus. Because whenever he says, I ain't even got an esophagus, I have a little story about that. But I'll say it after this part because this is great. Just executioners all of a sudden?
Yeah. Anyway.
Possibly the funniest part of the game. I mean, I know that I definitely laughed at that a lot more first time playing than I did just now, but... but my esophagus story, because I learned that the word esophagus could have an O at the beginning from this game. I thought it was a misspelling, but I think it's actually correct. Or it's a correct pronunciation, or spelling. My family and I were playing Beyond Balderdash. And normally Balderdash, you have a word that's really obscure and everyone comes up with definitions and people vote on which one's the right one or the best one. But Beyond Balderdash also has acronyms, where you can write down your own acronyms for things. And there was one that had an A, and I forgot whether, like, what the extra letter was at the beginning of esophagus in this game, so I thought that maybe it was an A. So, my extension of an acronym that contained an A used the word esophagus with an A at the beginning, and my sister kept making fun of it. She read it and she said, esophagus? And she just kept saying that for the rest of the night. But I didn't know. It's oesophagus. Much better. And use a Terminator reference. This game has affected me in a lot more ways than I can really pinpoint easily. Oh hey, that door looks like it's open. It's probably not actually open, but it looks like it is. Like it doesn't have the barricade in front of it anymore. But, one of many ways that this game has affected my life, because I really think that it's affected me in a lot of ways, is that it has so many movie references in it, it's parodied so many different things that I was kind of unfamiliar with before playing this. It actually got me to watch a lot of classic movies. So, I shouldn't spoil what any of the other references are, but just as an example, Terminator. This game led me to actually watching the first two Terminator movies. The second one I like a lot more than the first, even though I like the first one too.
No.
First one kind of loses some of its feel from the very obviously stop-motion Terminator sequence towards the end.
Actually, that makes a change.
It's a little janky.
I don't think I like the sound of that music. I don't think I like the sound of that music.
Supposedly, like allegedly, eye-popping. Allegedly, the music that plays during the boss sequence that we're about to do, in the Xbox Live version, is it Xbox Live or just Xbox? I don't know which one it is, but, like, in the background there's chanting that might be, like, curse words, but I don't remember which ones, so that's why I'm just saying curse words. Not that I would necessarily say them anyways, but... Or maybe it was something like referencing homosexuality, I don't know. But someone asked about that with the tepid seat and wasn't given a straight answer by Robin Beanland, the musician for the game. A fine composer who, I don't know if he's done movie soundtracks, but he definitely sounds like he has, because his soundtracks have more of a movie-type flair to them, like some sort of orchestral score, more so than Grant Kirkhope's music. Do not push. That's right, Heybot here, that's his name, is the ultimate chimera. This boss fight is not the clearest boss fight in terms of what you're supposed to do, but the idea is that you get the Suzy 9mm, not Uzi 9mm, to slam into these pipes. The pipes have water in them, and the water spills out right below an electric wire, and you make sure that he touches both the water and the electric wire to become electrocuted. the sound effects for him getting electrocuted are not very loud, so you have to be watching for when it happens. And then press A and B a whole bunch of times to make sure that you get the button right. Now, which one have I not broken yet? It looks like this one. I love the way that this game changes the gameplay, like I've said before, but in this case, Conker hurts his leg, and now you can't even walk around with him anymore. Like, you can't climb up ladders like these ladders here because his leg is hurt. And it's just a really clever way, I think, of, like, keeping us situated into this one arena. And also making things a little bit different. Another instance of this game just having personality, and I like it. Terminated. Hay is for horses, not for robots.
We definitely showed him that time.
Frickin' Flat Stanley. Why did they have to say hay is for horses, not for people, more than once in that book?
Oh, no.
Not that I've read it since childhood, probably since the first grade, but I just remember that part being annoying.
You don't look too good. You may be alright.
What do you mean, alright? Look at me! I'm broken in two! I'm just firewood from now.
Firewood from now.
Using me as toothpicks before
Yeah, we were just talking about toothpicks for bones.
You'll be alright, come on.
That's kind of what you are, I guess.
Well, I got an
But
idea.
you survived more of a fall than whoever the main character in Prince of Persia is. I forgot his name. It's not Altair.
There you go. Good as new.
Well, it kind of feels alright.
The duct tape is transparent. It's kind of great.
So bad after all.
See, in this case, duct tape is a good thing, so I wonder
What do you mean?
what the duct tape incident was with the professor.
Thank you, Mr. Squirrel. I think that of all the
The professor has a name, but I forgot what it was. It's a funny
got
name.
to be the most generous, kindest, nicest.
Maybe I should look it up, but
Okay.
I'm just not going to because,
Anyway, we gotta find a way out of here now.
Yeah.
well, maybe I can. I have my phone here.
Yep.
If this cutscene is not too long.
Oh, anyway, Mr. Squirrel, I've gotta go. See ya.
Conker Professor. Okay, Professor von Krippelspeck. Excellent.
Don't like the look of those wires.
I was able to look that up in the time that it took to get through this cutscene.